North Korea is the most closed-off country in the world and the most unpredictable. Here, people live by the Juche calendar, where the starting point is the birth year of Kim Il-sung. That's why this country is just a little over 100 years old now. In North Korea, there are officially approved hairstyles, 18 for women and 10 for men. You can't buy Coca-Cola, Choco Pie, or blue jeans here because these products are considered symbols of imperialism. Let's take a look at what lies behind the facade of the country with its ever-smiling leader. Let's start with a story from 5 years ago. American student Otto Warmbier visited this country in 2015, where he received 15 years of hard labor for stealing a propaganda poster. Under international pressure, North Korea released the student after administering heavy medication, which put him in a coma. He later died. In the United States, at the suggestion of the brilliant comrade, the genius of geniuses, and simply the leader of the Workers' Party of Korea. It is believed that local residents do not need money, since the state fully provides for all their needs. The monthly salary in the public sector for ordinary workers is 1,500 to 2,500 won. At the official exchange rate, that's $12 to $25. Peasants work according to a completely different principle. They receive their earnings in kind as a percentage of the harvested crop. Such a meager income doesn't even cover basic food needs. According to United Nations data, about 70% of the population suffers from chronic food shortages. The average North Korean's diet consists of rice, wheat, and corn, and at best, he gets a small piece of meat only on holidays. The main ones are the birthdays of Kim Jong-il and Kim Il-sung. In these conditions, most North Koreans look for additional income, but only in their free time from work. The country has full employment, and for idleness, you can end up in labor camps. So people work their whole lives, even after retirement. The retirement age is 60 for women and 65 for men. It is known that the pension amount in North Korea is about $30 for almost 85% of the population. The government takes care of retirees and doesn't let them get bored. In villages, the elderly are given land to plant and share the harvest with the state. In cities, they voluntarily maintain yards or public spaces. In the country, despite the official absence of private business, there are quite a few large private enterprises owned by people close to the country's top leadership, which are registered as state-owned. Here, workers have a completely different income level, about $300 a month. These are mainly residents of Pyongyang and a few major cities. Inequality in North Korea is significant and growing, with a wide gap in living standards between the upper and lower classes, despite initial appearances. Premium goods are sold in elite stores, for the top 1%, in so-called Singapore shops in Buksa or in Ryugen. Rich people shop there, for whom it's no problem to spend several $100s on a Chanel handbag. One of the signs of prosperity in North Korea is the ability to go to a plastic surgeon. Among the most popular procedures is blepharoplasty. But changing the shape of the eyelids and giving the eyes a European look is not that easy. Plastic surgery is banned in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, so North Korean residents are forced to go to underground surgical clinics. Education is also considered a luxury. Only about 15% of all high school graduates enter higher education institutions, mostly from privileged families. It's difficult to get into a North Korean university. Because of this, the tutoring industry has flourished. A course with a good tutor costs from $10 to $30 a month, so their income is quite high. Interestingly, a teacher in North Korea is required to know how to play the accordion. This musical instrument is considered folk, since you can take it with you to work in the fields. Luxury in the North Korean way, of course, is different from luxury in the Western sense. But in a nation of 25 million people, only 3 million own mobile phones. The ability to eat well and heartily, get a gym membership, and own fashionable leggings is already a great privilege. In Pyongyang, there are restaurants, sushi bars, and coffee shops for the wealthy, where you can order beef steaks for the amount of money that an average North Korean works hard for half a year to earn, namely $50. It's not uncommon for guests in restaurants in the North Korean capital to eat behind bamboo curtains, so that foreigners can't see what the local wealthy people have on their plates. The level of corruption in North Korea is one of the highest in the world. According to a report by the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, which is based on 214 interviews with people who fled the country, The right to life and freedom in North Korea depends primarily on the ability to bribe government officials. Widespread corruption has impacted the education system. Bribes greatly boost the likelihood of university admission, including for the Seoul Law faculty at Kim Il-sung University. Without a bribe, you can only get in after serving in the army or through powerful connections. The threat of arrest, detention, and prosecution gives government officials powerful ways to extort money from the population, said United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Michelle Bachelet. There is a punishment for 3 generations in the country. This means that when a person is sent to prison, their entire family goes with them, and the next 2 generations are born in captivity. After the death of Kim Jong-il, thousands of North Koreans were sent to camps because they did not mourn the loss of their leader properly. The number of prisoners ranges from 80,000 to 120,000. Kim Jong-un's regime is harsh towards both the country's citizens and his own family members. In 2013, Kim Jong-un's aunt fell victim to the repressions. She and her husband were among the most influential people in North Korea when power passed to Kim Jong-un. Jang Song-thaek, her husband, was considered the second most powerful person in the state during the early period of Kim Jong-un's rule. However, 2 years later, he was unexpectedly removed from all his positions and detained during one of the meetings. In official statements, it was said that he confessed to attempting a coup d'état. He was executed immediately after being sentenced by a military court. Few people have any doubts about the reasons for the crackdown. The influential Chan Song-thaek was perceived as a threat to the power of the new Democratic People's Republic of Korea leader. International economic sanctions have been imposed on North Korea multiple times. It is believed that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea receives significant income from the black market. For this purpose, Kim Jong-il's regime has a secret department called Bureau 39, a special organization that directly oversees illegal foreign trade. Among the illegal exports of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, drug trafficking is the most well-known. Drug production in North Korea was put on stream back in the mid-70s. Mainly, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea specialized in synthesizing heroin from poppy seeds. However, in '96, heavy rains almost completely destroyed the poppy crop, and North Korea had to look for new sources of income. After converting their existing laboratories, the country began producing 10 to 15 tons of high-quality amphetamine, mainly for export. By the mid-90s, North Korea's main partners had become Japanese mobsters from the Yakuza and members of the Chinese triads. A little later, North Korea began looking for new ways to make money, and amphetamines were left for domestic use. According to defectors, local residents use them as a stimulant for fatigue, as a painkiller, and even in the form of cold medicine tablets. Smoking marijuana is also completely legal. Gradually, North Korea shifted its focus to another type of illegal activity: laundering counterfeit money printed on its own territory. The local franklins turned out to be of such high quality that they were quickly dubbed superdollars. Expert analysis showed that the banknotes were printed on paper identical to that used by the United States Federal Reserve System. The first such superdollar was spotted in 1989 in Manila, and again in 2016. A North Korean agent was detained in China with counterfeit $100 bills, which he intended to spend on electronics and household appliances. Today, there are fewer and fewer counterfeit bills, and those that do appear can't boast high quality. The reason for this is the economic problems that the Republic has faced due to sanctions. In the early 90s, Pyongyang set up the production of counterfeit cigarettes. Selling counterfeit cigarettes is a much less risky business than drug trafficking, and at the same time, it is extremely profitable. It takes about $70,000 to produce one standard shipping container of cigarettes. Selling such a container can bring in $3 to $4 million. By the mid-2000s, there were about 12 such factories operating in North Korea. They counterfeited such well-known brands and even sent them to the United States. Shipments occasionally surfaced, such as in 2006. In Greece, a shipment of such cigarettes worth about $3.5 million was seized. At the moment, the illegal cigarette market is estimated at several $billion, and North Korea controls a significant part of it. In the mid-2000s, Pyongyang started actively producing counterfeit medicines like clonazepam, phenethylline, and Viagra. In 2004, Arab Republic authorities arrested the import of 150,000 North Korean clonazepam tablets into the country. But the valiant North Koreans led by the brilliant Kim Jong-un, launched a new production line and started making Neo-Viagra brown granules, which were declared as a traditional medicine remedy. The manufacturers of real Viagra studied the tablet from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and stated that it could actually be effective, since it contains about 50 milligrams of sildenafil, the main active ingredient in Viagra. Now, Neo-Viagra is freely sold in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and in the northeast of China. And of course, illegal arms trading. How could it be without that? After all, among other things, North Korea has unprecedented experience in servicing, upgrading, and repairing Soviet and Chinese models of weapons. Many of them remain in service, used by poor countries. North Koreans cooperate with Somalia, Uganda, Iran, Syria, Mongolia, and a number of other countries. Despite the wide geography of trade, it is difficult to estimate the income from it due to a lack of information, as well as the fact that some deals are conducted through barter. For example, in 2013, the authorities of Panama detained a Cuban ship that was heading to North Korea. On board, border guards discovered weapons, Soviet equipment, and 2 MiG-21 fighter jets, which were covered by a cargo of 200,000 bags of sugar. The Cubans said they were taking everything to North Korea for repairs. As technology developed, North Korea acquired an entire staff of its own hackers, who helped the authorities earn money for the country. For this purpose, back in 1998, special units called Bureau 121 and Office 91 were organized in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. It is believed that today the cyber unit consists of between 2,000 and 6,000 hackers. North Korean hackers gained worldwide fame in 2014 after an attack on a film studio whose comedy, The Interview, angered Pyongyang in 2016. They stole $81 million from the Central Bank of Bangladesh and also hacked an exchange from which more than 4,000 bitcoins were withdrawn. Democratic People's Republic of Korea hackers are also involved in mining cryptocurrencies. In 2017, the attackers took over a South Korean company's server and used its resources for mining. And at the beginning of January 2018, it became known that they were spreading malware that takes over other people's computers and forces them to mine cryptocurrency. However, the global network only serves to meet the needs of authorities and government organizations. North Koreans cannot access the internet. As of 2015, the number of active Internet Protocol addresses with Internet access did not exceed 1,500. But what does it matter? After all, every North Korean household and business is equipped with a special radio that is controlled by the government and cannot be turned off. North Korea does not shy away from the world's oldest business, actively engaging in human trafficking. There are two options here. Either women and girls are the goods being traded, or North Korean workers are being sold. They work in the mining industry, logging, and construction. North Korea supplies labor to over 40 countries worldwide, with estimates ranging from 100,000 to 200,000 workers. Meanwhile, the workers give most of their earnings to benefit the nation and its leader. This activity brings from $1 to $3 billion to the country's budget annually. However, even this source of income had to be shut down by the North Korean authorities after United Nations sanctions required all member countries to expel North Korean workers. In general, no one can even estimate the legal income of this country, since the official economic statistics were classified back in the early 60s. And it's even harder to estimate illegal income. Well, we'll talk about the relationship with South Korea another time. Set up alerts to catch new episodes. See you on Cramola.